morning everyone, how are you? I hope you're okay. Today I'm hiding in the shed. You got me in the shed because it's really cold, but it's fine because it gives me a chance to do a little bit of planning for next season's growing. We're already into, where are we? We're mid-December now, so it's about time I got planning now. I did have a couple of questions from, just a few people on my Instagram page. So if you are on Instagram, you can pop along on there, follow me. I am the Girl Gardener. Hi, how's it going? If you already know me, welcome back, and if you don't, then hello. But yeah, just join me on there. I do daily updates, but the reason I'm doing is a video because I had a few questions through my Instagram page, not that many, but just a few people saying I'm really interested in growing my own food. I want to grow some vegetables and fruit and things like that, and I really don't know where to start. So can you please tell me what to grow? And the answer to that question is no, I can't tell you what to grow, but I can sort of just help you decide what it is that you want to grow by showing you my own planning. So the way I do my growing plan, if you want to call it, is I just have a notebook and I write down all of the things that I want to grow. Reason being is because even though I've got my seeds, I do tend to forget. Now, sorry, I'm a bit kind of like, I'm a bit too high and a bit too low, but I just can't get the height. I've got a tripod and it's either too high or too low, so you got me down here. You got me down here. Okay, so I use a notebook just to make a list of all the things that I want to grow. And then what I also do is I have this calendar which I bought. I buy both of these. I buy my stuff from the works, so I get my notebooks and my calendars from the works because I really like the designs. They're just nice and colourful, and that's what I like. That's what my brain likes. It likes nice colourful things. Not sponsored, by the way, it's just where I go. But what I like about these calendars is that you've got a full page for each month, and all you've got to do then is write down exactly what you're going to sow, when you're going to sow it. So that's what I do. And then you can also buy a diary if you want to. I know some people do have sort of growing planners where it's specifically catered to just growing. That's fine too. I don't have anything like that. I've just got my notebook. But yeah, I'm just going to bring you along and show you how I do it, and hopefully that will help you to decide what it is that you want to grow for your garden next year. One really good way to help plan your garden is to have a sit down and to think about the kind of foods that you eat every day. So it's very easy for us to look at social media, and especially Instagram and things like that, and we see all sorts of really amazing vegetables and fruits and whatnot, and then we think, oh great, yeah, that's what I have to grow, but really we don't eat those foods. So for example, I grew radishes for the last 2 years. I don't like radishes. There's nothing wrong with radishes, I'm not keen on them. So make a list of the stuff that you do actually eat at home. That will help you decide what it is that you're actually going to grow. That's like the biggest thing. If you don't do that, I don't think that you're gonna have much success in terms of growing for food, if you see what I mean. For example, I mean, yes, I show all of my produce on Instagram, but I don't grow for Instagram. So I'm not an Insta gardener, if you see what I mean. I grow for food, for my family. So to do this, what I'm going to do is actually take you off selfie mode. I'm going to bring you down so you can actually see what I'm writing down in my book. Now, if you want, you can go get yourself some paper, pens, felt tips, and you can do sort of like a plan along with me if you want to. Or you can just watch the video and then come back later and write out your own list. But yeah, I'm going to bring you down. Before I do just want to quickly show you my seed storage. So this is what I actually keep all my seeds in the first place, and it just helps me to stay a little bit organized. Again, lots of colors. This is actually just a photograph box. Now, I bought mine off eBay. Again, not sponsored. I bought this in 2020, I think it was, to treat myself for my birthday. So what it is, it's just a big plastic box, and within the main box you've got a whole bunch of these cassettes. Each one is 6x4, so it holds a 6x4 photograph. But I just organized all my seeds, and then what I did was I used these little post-it notes, which I'll show you over here. I can open my pencil case. I just used these post-it notes and I just glued them to each cassette holder, whatever you want to call it, and write down what. So I've got all my chilies in this one, I have tomatoes, we've got onions in one, we've got all the cucumbers in another. So this is my seed storage, and it really helps me to stay organized with this, but you can use anything you want. This is just what I use. Now, just for the purposes of saving a little bit of time, otherwise we will be here forever, I have made my basic list of the kind of foods that I want to be growing. Now, the way I plan it is I make my list and I leave a gap between each item, because what I'm going to do is in the gap I'm going to write down the variety of the food that I'm going to grow. And the reason why I do that is, as I mentioned earlier, you know, I don't grow just one variety of certain things, you know, some tomatoes and things. I like to grow 2 or 3, and when it comes to sowing the seeds I may forget one, so it's good to have it written down. So my first item here, I'll be growing my tomatoes. Now last year I grew just the 2 varieties. Actually no, sorry, I tell a lie, I grew 3 varieties of tomatoes and all 3 did really well. So the first one that I grew was this one. It's called Tumbling Tom Red, and it's a form of cherry tomato. Obviously the packet is ripped because I did obviously get into that last year. I also grew this variety, which is called Moneymaker. It's an absolutely brilliant variety to grow. It's extremely prolific. That's the pack. It's extremely prolific, just keeps on producing. And then I also grew another variety called Tigerella. This was a multi-pack, but this is the one that I decided to grow, Tigerella. Again, that was a brilliant one to grow. So those are my main 3 varieties that I want to grow. And also Mr. Girl Gardener has chosen this one here. I've not grown this particular variety before, so this will be a new one for me, but he wants to try that, so we'll be growing that this year. This one is from Mr. Fothergill's. It's a great seed company to buy from, absolutely brilliant. I've never had a problem with them. Brilliant customer service and great germination. This one is also Mr. Fothergill's. Great seeds. And then the 2 seed packets that I've got here are from Wilko's. So the Moneymaker here and the Tumbling Toms are both from Wilko's. And I mean, you know, growing your own food doesn't have to be expensive. For 50 pence I got a whole season of tomatoes, and that was just this one variety. Obviously I then added the other 2 varieties that I've been growing. So it's amazing how much food you can actually grow with, you know, pennies, really, pennies. Moneymaker, it's a very easy variety to grow, very easy to care for. The Tumbling Tom Reds, I grew mine in hanging baskets last year. They were brilliant, and the new variety that I'm going to try. I'm going to move on to my chilies now. By the way, if you are new to growing, or you know, a beginner or anything like that, I'd say these are the varieties to go for. They are very easy to grow, like I said, and it's great as a starting point. Now when it comes to my chilies, I'm only going to, at the moment anyway, I've decided I'm only growing 2 varieties. This variety worked extremely well for me this year. Here it is. The seeds, again, they're from Mr. Fothergill's and they are hot. We use these in our cooking. I'm just gonna, is it focusing? Yep. So they're hot curry pepper seeds. They are absolutely brilliant. I grew all 10 plants and they did not stop producing. The only thing that stopped them producing is when we finally had a frost. So these are brilliant and they're fantastic to put in your cooking. My other variety that I'm going to be growing is Havana Gold. I didn't grow this year, but I did do it last year. Again, I love this variety of chili, but I know it does say hot. For me, it wasn't hot. I mean, I tried putting it in my cooking and I found it just didn't really give it that kind of, you know, that nice little oomph that you'd want in, say, a curry, for example. I would say that this variety of chili is really good for putting in salads or sandwiches, something like that. These are my 2 varieties of chilies that I'm going to be growing, so I'm just going to pop these on my list as well. If it's something that you're interested in growing, then put it on your list. This one is perfect for curries. Let me just tell you that right now. I'm going to skip my potatoes so far because I'm not sure what variety I want to go for next year. This year I grew Maris Piper and Maris Pia, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with those two varieties of potatoes. They're brilliant, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe I'd like a bit of a change, so I'm going to leave that blank and I will come back to that later. My onions and garlic I already have. Now, I don't have them to hand, but I purchased mine from Wilko's. Unfortunately, it doesn't say what variety of onion and garlic they are. A little bit annoying because it is nice to know. However, mine are from Wilko's. So again, if it's something that you want to do and you want to try the Wilko varieties, do go for it. So I'm just going to move straight onto the Kohlrabi. These are my two varieties of Kohlrabi that I grow. So these seeds are from Wilko, and they're the purple Vienna. They are lovely. They grow nice and small, about this big each, and they are perfectly sized veggies. The great thing about kohlrabi is you not only eat the vegetable, but you eat the leaves as well. My other variety is this one here, which is from Lidl. These seeds are from Lidl, so I can write down the varieties, but these are the only two that I've got here really. So we've got the purple Vienna, what's this one called? Super Schmilds, I think. Schmells. Okay. Now with my cucumbers, I've got a few different varieties that I'd like to try. I'm definitely going to grow Crystal Apple, which is here, and also Crystal Lemon. The Crystal Lemon was given to me in a seed swap that I did earlier on in the year. And the Crystal Apple, I ordered from a company called Premier Seeds Direct. Let me tell you, Premier Seeds Direct are honestly my go-to company. Along with the other ones, they are my go-to seed company because not only are they fantastic on their seeds, great germination rates, great growing rates, but they're also very reasonable in terms of their costing. Their shipping is very reasonable as well. And their delivery time is quite quick. You only wait a few days for your seeds to come through. So this is the one that I've ordered. Okay, there's this one as well called La Diva. I'm pretty sure Premier Seeds Direct actually sell these seeds anyway, but I got these ones in a seed swap from another person on Instagram. It was very kind enough to send them to me. And then I've also got two more varieties here. Obviously these ones I also grew last year. This particular one here, two of them, I'm going to hopefully be trying. I've not tried them before. I didn't get to sow them last year. I actually forgot, which is why I'm writing them down now. So these varieties are all going down on my list. I would say if you're a beginner and you want to grow cucumbers, try the Crystal Apple and Crystal Lemon. You know, they are very nice tasting cucumbers. Moving on to my squash, I only grew one variety of summer squash this year, and honestly that was enough. I really didn't need any more. It produced so much, and this is what I grew. It's called a Patty Pan Bush Custard White, and it's so prolific. It produced so much squash. This is what we're eating all summer, and it's from a company called Seed Parade. Do check them out. Again, they're very reasonable when it comes to their prices, their shipping costs, and also delivery time. I've not really had much of an issue with these seeds either, as far as I can remember. I think I did have a little bit of a challenge when it came to growing cucumbers, but aside from that, this variety has been very good for me this year. So I'm going to be growing that this year as well. I've already popped it down on the list. And I'm also going to move straight onto the winter squash as well. I've got a good few varieties of squash that I want to grow for winter. Now, one of them is this, which is spaghetti squash. It's brilliant. They do say that it's a healthy alternative to potatoes. It's sort of like you can cook it, mash it up like this, and it becomes quite stringy, but it's, I guess, a healthier version because it doesn't have that starchiness to it like potatoes do. So this is a Mr. Fothergill's one. You can see the pack. You can write this one down if it's a seed variety that you're interested in growing. You get a good amount of seeds with them. They are very generous with the amount of seeds that they give. So that's the first variety of squash that I want to grow for winter. This is another variety. I did try growing this variety this year. Unfortunately, the compost that I bought was full of fungal gnats or fungus gnats, and what they do is they don't damage the plants, but they lay their eggs under the soil, and their larvae eat the roots of the plants. So I had quite a few of these seeds planted. I'm not sure how many. I'll have to go through the pack again. And it's a shame because they ate all my seedlings, so I didn't have any this year. But yeah, definitely on the list for next year. Again, it's a Mr. Fothergill's pack. The next one that I want to try, I've been wanting to grow this last year and the year before, but I didn't. It's called Queensland Blue. It's a large variety of squash, so you don't want to be growing this upwards necessarily. You're probably better off growing it along the ground. They are beautiful. The skin is a gorgeous sort of very dark bluey green shade. It's absolutely stunning, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to try it out, really. I just thought it was so beautiful looking. There's also this one, which is a new variety for me. I ordered this just recently. It's called Honey Boat Squash. Now, the reason why I chose this one is because it's reported that the fruits of this squash are very sweet tasting. So I thought it'd be really interesting to try a squash that has a very, very sweet taste to it. Again, both of these are Premier Seeds Direct. So write down the websites, do check them out. None of this is sponsored, by the way, just to let you know. I'm just showing you what I do so that you can go for it as well. And another variety of squash that I want to grow is this one. And it's called Yuchiki Curry. Now, again, this, the same as my sweet dumpling, I tried growing this year, but I lost all the seeds. I think I had about 4 plants or 5 plants. Unfortunately, they all got eaten by fungus gnats. So I'm going to try it again, though. I will definitely try it again. I'm not giving up. I've seen lots of people growing these, and you know, they've got plenty of success with them. The seed pack was 75p, it looks like. So that's a great variety too. So I'm going to go ahead and get those written down on my list, and then I'll move on to the pumpkins and tell you what pumpkins I'm going to grow. See, this is a great way of deciding what you're going to grow, because once you've got everything written down and the varieties, you can just keep going back to the list and you won't forget what it is that you want. Alright, here we go. So now moving on to my pumpkins, I'm going three varieties of pumpkins this year. One is this one for the kids, just a bit of a novelty for them to grow. It's called Atlantic Giant. Again, I tried growing it this year, but the fungus gnats ate them. So that was a bust, but I'm going to try it again this year, or let's just say next year. We're in 2021 right now. This is for 2022's growing, and I've decided to go small with my pumpkins this year. So I bought 2 varieties. I haven't grown these before. Sorry, just get this to focus. Here we go. They are very nice, cute little varieties of pumpkin. One is called Baby Boo, and the other is called Jack Be Little. Jack Be Little are your orange pumpkins, and Baby Boo are basically, it's kind of like the same thing, but it's a white version. Now, the reason I've decided to grow these is because I can try and grow these up the archways that I've got. I've got a couple of archways in the garden, and my intention is to use that upward growing space to grow as much food as possible in the space that I have. Now, these are Premier Seeds Direct. This one, I'm thinking, I can't remember where I actually got this seed packet from. So unfortunately, I don't know. I couldn't say where I bought this from. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very sorry. I couldn't. If I find out, I'll put it in the description or something. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. But these are the 3 varieties of pumpkin that I'm growing. So if you're someone who's strapped for space, you could get an archway and grow smaller pumpkins rather than large pumpkins across the ground. I'm growing 3 varieties of beans this year. That's the next thing on my list. So you can see my list over here. So my first variety, all of these seeds are from a company called Thompson & Morgan. I've grown these before. They're a wonderful variety of beans. You just keep picking them again and again. But I did make the mistake of growing these on the bottom of a sort of teepee that I made, and I grew these along with runner beans. So what ended up happening was the runner beans just absolutely climbed up the teepee that I made out of sticks and stuff. They took over, and then these dwarf beans were just small plants at the bottom, and I didn't realize. I thought maybe that the plant would be big and the beans would be small. But no, it's actually the entire plant is a dwarf version, and these are, you know, you can grow these in pots or in the ground, but just make sure that if you do try this variety, don't grow it where they're going to get drowned out by other plants. It produced so much. I mean, these beans were delicious, absolutely delicious, and they're actually dark purple. So when you grow them, the pods are dark purple. When you cook them though, they do turn green, but they are a lovely purple colour. And the other one that I'm going to grow is this one, which is also a dwarf variety, and it's from Thompson and Morgan as well. Okay, and these are actually yellow as far as I'm aware. These are yellow. So I thought it would be quite nice to have the yellow and the purple growing together. And then I'm also going to be growing runner beans, which are not here right now. They're actually inside in a jar that I'm going to grow from seeds that I saved from this year. So those are actually inside, but I'm going to add the runner beans, the Sonesta dwarf beans, and the dwarf bean Mystic. So Mystic, dwarf bean, and you can plant as many seeds as you want. This year with my runner beans I grew, I think I had 6 plants, and honestly I just couldn't even give away the amount of beans that we had. Moving on to my peppers, these are a variety that I grew last year, but it was from a plant that I was actually given by my mum. So this time I've actually ordered the seeds so I can grow a lot more. They're the Padron Peppers. Absolutely beautiful. You can add these into curries as well. They are hot, like they say on the pack, unlike the Havana Gold, the chilies. But these are the peppers that I'm going to be growing. They're Mr. Fothergill. So just take a look at the pack if that's what you want to grow. They were quite popular with a lot of growers this year. I did notice that. My other variety are going to be this one. Now, I've tried growing these for 2 years and I've not had much success, and I'm thinking maybe it's because I've been growing them outdoors. I think they probably best grow in a greenhouse or polytunnel, even though I think you can grow them outdoors. I just think with our UK climate, you know, you probably just want to grow them under cover. Now, this pack, I bought this from the range. Now at the range, all of their seed packs are just 50p or 49p or something like that. So if you are someone, like I've mentioned before, you're starting out, it's a great place to go to get your seed collection going. 49p per pack, that's, you know, it's brilliant. This is a new variety that I want to grow. It's called hopscotch. So this is supposed to be very hot. I've heard that it's very hot, but I know everyone's different. You know, what might be hot for me might not be hot for you. So it's good to experiment. Like I said, I'm showing you all the stuff that I'm growing because a few of you said that you were interested in seeing it, what my growing list was. So that's that. And I'm going to add these chilies to my, I'm going to add these peppers onto my list. So 3 varieties that I'm trying this year. Just a quick note to add, I think if you're a newbie, maybe try this one over this one. But I mean, having said that, just because I haven't had success in growing something doesn't mean that you won't either. There are seeds that I find easy to grow that some people don't, and vice versa. It's just about experimenting and seeing what works for you. Sweet corn, I'm going to be growing one variety of from Premier Seeds Direct. It's called Fiesta. Now, the reason why I chose this particular one is because my son really likes sweet corn, but also the little corns on these are multicoloured, and I was under the impression that that was called glass gem, but maybe I'm mistaken. So this is the particular one that I'm going to be trying, the sweet corn. You can write that down if you want to. The next one on my list is Celeriac. So let me just try and find my Celeriac seeds. So these are my Celeriac seeds. Again, you're seeing a pattern, Premier Seeds Direct. And this one is called Giant Prague. I tried growing Celeriac this year, but my seeds just had very poor germination rates. The seeds were from a different company, and so I've tried this one this time round. I normally have a really great success growing from Premier Seeds Direct, so I'm going to try them again next year. Want to give them another chance. I'm going to try these ones. I mean, and look how many seeds you get in that pack. A good 10,000 seeds in there. That's brilliant. So the next one, let me just write that down first. It's called Giant Prague. Okay, so next one on my list are artichokes, which I have from the good old Mr. Fothergill's, and this variety is called Green Globe. This is going to be a first for me, but if you're someone who does enjoy growing artichokes, then you might want to try this particular one. That's the seed pack there. I'm not going to be going really fancy with stuff like this, because I've always seen them as something that's quite complicated to grow. So I'm only going to be trying the one variety. So that's that, Green Globe. And the next one we've got Leeks, which I ordered online from Mr. blah blah, if I can talk, Mr. Fothergill's. Now I don't normally buy F1 varieties. I'm trying to stay away from F1 varieties of seeds. However, I don't intend on collecting the seeds from these to resow again. So I thought on this occasion it doesn't matter. If I was planning on saving seeds, then it would really matter to me, but since I'm not, it's okay. So the next item on my list that I want to grow are sprouts. And I'm growing two different varieties. I really hope that you can actually see if it's bright enough. So these are the ones that I grew last year, and I did okay on sprouts. These seeds are from Lidl. It's not really focusing. There you go. So you can see that one. It's called Rudnerf. And they were very easy to grow. The only mistake that I made initially was not netting them over. Now they are a brassica, so they do attract the cabbage whitefly butterfly, which will lay its eggs on the leaves, and then those caterpillars will just completely, you know, desecrate your entire crop. So make sure that you're growing any kind of brassicas, you want to net them over. This is my other variety. This is a new one that I'm trying. It's a purple one called Rubine, and I'm just buying it for the colour. So I can grow these two with each other, and I think that would look great. Mr. Fothergill's and Lidl. I will also be growing broccoli and cauliflower. So I've got a few varieties. I've got broccoli from Mr. Fothergill's here. You get 150 seeds in that pack. And my cauliflower seeds are from Lidl. Now these are spring and autumn sowing, which are great. So come spring I'll be sowing some of those. But then I do also have this variety, which is from not Mr. Fothergill's, beg your pardon, Thompson and Morgan, which is an all year round variety. So that's a really good one to try as well. If you're thinking of growing yourself some broccoli or cauliflower, then here are some varieties that you could go for. I mean, if there's anything that you already know of, then by all means put it in the comments. You know, have some conversations with each other and tell each other what kind of things that you're growing, because it really does help. Rudolph. Okay, it really does help other people when it comes to choosing what it is that they want to grow. Snowball. And then this one, it just says all year round actually, doesn't it? Yeah, all year round. I'll just put it down as all year round. So let me just have a quick rummage around in my box and see if there's anything else. Yes, there are. Lastly, there are two varieties of aubergines. I put it here on the next page that I want to grow, and I still have plenty of space to add anything else that I decide that I want to grow for the coming year. So this variety here is called Black Beauty. I think I only got a few this year when I was growing them, and one got eaten by a slug. But I did get the odd couple. And then with this particular variety here, so that one, yeah, that one's Black Beauty. Sorry if I didn't mention that one already. That's Black Beauty. And this one is called Rosa Bianca from Mr. Fothergill's as well. You can see I love just these few key companies that sell seeds. Now this one, we did quite good on these ones. They were very easy to grow. A lot easier than I thought that they would be. I kept them inside my polytunnel, both of them, and yeah, we did really well. The only mistake that I made growing this one is that I was expecting them to get much bigger than what they actually did, and by leaving them on the plant for too long, they ended up going bad, so they turned yellow. Once they turn yellow, they are no good. So they grow white. It's like a white skin with sort of pink streaks on it. Really nice, pretty looking aubergines, about that big each. But there's me thinking, no, it's going to get bigger, and then they ended up being absolutely horrid because they went bad. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when growing that particular variety. But yeah, it's definitely lesson learned, and I'll be doing these ones again. Right, so okay, I hope that you've enjoyed that and it's given you a bit of a good idea as to what kind of things that you might want to grow next year in terms of food. My next video that I'm going to do is going to cover flowers and herbs, because some of the flowers that you get can be edible. I know I definitely want to put chamomile on my list because I want to make chamomile tea, but that's going to be my next video. Also, when it comes to filling out your calendar and writing down what you're going to sow and when you're going to sow it, just look at your seed packs, because they will tell you what the best times are for you to sow any particular seed. It also depends on the area that you live in. So for example, I might be able to sow something in April, but you may have to wait till the last frosts in May. It also is dependent on whether you have the space to keep seedlings indoors. So for example, my seed sowing is going to start, not sure if I've mentioned this already earlier in the video, my seed sowing is going to actually start in January in terms of my chilies, tomatoes and aubergines, and the reason for that is because they have a very long growing period. Sweet peas I should be able to start off anytime now really. We're into coming towards the end of December, mid to end December. I can sow those and put them straight outside into the greenhouse. They'll be fine outside. So all of that sort of when to sow things, I will sort of leave that to you. But if you do have any questions on that, just ask away. I'm in the Staffordshire area. I'm not sure what zone that is classed as, but it, like I said, it all just depends on what area you're in as to when you're going to be sowing certain types of seeds. And I have also enjoyed showing you what's in my seed box, so letting you have a nosy around as to what's in there. And yeah, if you enjoyed that video, please do give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing, because that will help me make more videos. Feel free to just go back, pause so you can write things down, maybe the seed companies, but I will make a list of the seed companies that I buy from, and I'll put them in the description box below, and anything else that I remember as well. If I've forgotten anything, please do remind me. Just put it into the comment section and I will try to help you with that. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. First of all, what I think I'm going to do, what I'm also going to do is, what am I going to do? Yeah, I don't know. Notification bell as well. Something just ran across.